Real quick before we start, I just wanted to mention that we do these podcast recordings live on stream. We stream every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. EST on Twitch. It's an opportunity for you guys to come hang out, interact, and ask your questions directly to all of our guests. We also have a Discord if you want to keep talking more about deathcore and metalcore, or simply to keep up with everything that we're doing, upcoming guests, and all that jazz. I'll leave links to both of these things in the description wherever you are watching or listening. And with that out of the way, please enjoy this episode. Welcome to episode 29 of the Brutality podcast. My name is Dom. I am joined as always by my co-host Yan, and today we have the privilege of talking to D of Peeling Flesh. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
What's up? Doing good. Happy to be here.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you for taking the time, man.
No problem. Love what you guys do here.
Thank you so much, dude. Like, I'll be honest, like, I'm a big fan of like slam in general and stuff. So like when we were talking about, with who we'd like to have on the podcast, I'm like, you were very early on the list of, people I would be excited to have. So we're very stoked, and our community is very happy as well. So thank you for doing it, man. Really.
No problem. Love your channel. Even before you guys hit me up, knew about the channel, knew about the podcast, so
oh yeah,
very
man.
happy.
Yeah,
it just made me happy. So let me tell you that much. Thanks.
I think it's cool too, because it's pretty exciting time, I think, for all things Peeling Flesh. You guys have got quite a bit going on right now. You guys got some new music coming, got some touring and stuff. You guys just announced a headliner, but you guys also just came back from that Jesus Piece tour, right? How was that for you guys? How was the tour?
Oh man, we couldn't ask for a more perfect tour. It was just fun, night after night. The bill between us, Gag, Sangui Sugbog, and Jesus Piece was just so perfect. Everybody did what they did so perfectly, so it was an amazing time. All those people are family now. It was that good.
That's awesome. I think Jesus Piece, I find, is criminally underrated still. Like, to be honest, Great American Ghost too. Like both those bands, I think, are doing something a little different for their respective genres, but doing it in a really fucking heavy and cool way. So it was actually cool to see those two bands touring together with some more slam bands on the bill as well. I thought it was a cool lineup to have the different genres line up that way.
It was a sick dynamic.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. You guys also just put out, like, you guys haven't really promoted all that much, but you guys did the 3 years of Peeling Spree.
Yeah,
you guys put out the collection of songs, everything from before.
Jumbled everything all into one and just released it. It was we had like a little bit of pushing for it. We had like a pre-order thing, but it just recently dropped on YouTube, and I think streaming services all in one nice little pod.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to look at it in that context, because you check out the album and then you see there's like 33 songs. It's like, holy shit, that's a lot of fucking music, And then you realize, wait, these guys have only been around for a few years. Like you guys have been around since like 2021, maybe started a little bit earlier, but all things considered, you guys are putting out like a full length every year worth of music, right? So how is it for you guys, I guess, like writing music and being able to put out so much music for you guys? You guys just always writing no matter what?
Always writing no matter what. We are sitting on so much music at all times. it's our I don't know how to say it, but it's our toxic trait. We sit on our music.
Okay. The red flag of the band.
It's our red flag. We sit on our music for a very, very long time. But it's cool to have the whole 3 years out there. We're gonna start with some fresh things. This year we got a full length coming out. That actually our first technical full length. Yeah. So That'll be a fun one. I'm stoked to have that out there.
How does it work for a full length when you do like 2-minute songs? Do you put twice as many songs on, or is it still an 11?
Oh man, you gotta put twice as many. You gotta put twice as many. It's the only way to make it out alive.
Yeah, like what I personally, I'm always going to remember what it's one of my friends who's like, dude, you love slam, you love Waking the Cadaver and all that stuff. Please listen to that. And I do remember it's a while back, like I think it was early on, and he clicked on one of your songs and I was like, what is happening right now? Because the first vibe I had, it felt like pure slam with like the production is like there's a modern touch to it that works perfectly well. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like there's an edge more than usual slam. And don't get me wrong, I love slam music, but I was like, okay, that's like badass level, like 50,000. Like what is happening? Like every one of your songs, the whole time you can just be, it's the perfect music to listen in a car, man.
It's not honestly. You can. You have to.
Yes, definitely. And it's just so bad. Like there's not one part that you cannot be like that. So it's like I click instantly and I feel like you guys are picking up traction because obviously it's like it's happening to a lot of people, right? So you definitely have your own take on slam. Do you feel like it's a fair statement, or it's just like my impression of it? Like I would be curious to know if it's tended and
it's definitely our take on slam. We've taken everything we've liked from slam, everything, all of our, just influences in general, which are primarily slam. I don't know, we kind of just throw our our own thing on it. It's just we've all absorbed so much slam that when we finally sit down and make it, we're like, okay, here's what we want to do, here's the risk we like. Also to the whole nodding your head thing, we have a rule. If we wouldn't mosh to it, get down to it, headbang to it, we don't want to release it. If it's not something that we are like, this is insane, we're not going to release it.
It makes a lot of sense too, because after that, I feel like it's translate during the shows, right? Like if you write a part and you guys are already like, there's a lot of chances that same thing is gonna even better live. So it's just like it's good for you, but it's also great for the audience, and you're offering like a better experience as a whole. But yeah, I feel like what you guys have is a lot of, like in the vocal patterns and everything, like it's slam, but there's like so much flow in it, like so much, like it's very fluid at the same time, as much as it's like it's badass. So it's definitely, that's kind of what I meant with you have your own take on it. Like I love slam, but you listen to Peeling Flesh and it's still unique, even if it's slam. Yeah. So
all the way down to the samples. I mean, I know samples are like a staple to like that sort of music, but I think you guys implement it in a pretty particular way, all the way with the air horns and stuff like that in some of the songs. It's so extra, like it's so over the top, but you guys make it work, and like you can't not laugh, like you can't not have a good time. Like how is it for you guys? I mean, maybe balancing like, serious music versus just goofing off and making a, kind of a meme thing, but it being a, not too memey at the same time, Yeah,
that is kind of the thing. We do kind of, the slams are serious. Everything is serious. And then there's the samples. It's because we're all just like, every single last member in Peeling Flesh is just an over the top human being, and so we're always just laughing at just over the top funny things. And just so we're in the studio, like our group chat is literally just video after video of us going sample. We should sample this, sample.
Clip it,
and then we all get to the studio, clip it. Then we all get to the studio and we're like samples, and we're all like, we don't know. And here's what we've been laughing at recently. And there, that's usually how it ends up.
Yeah, I love it. By the way, like just fun fact. Yesterday, I was listening to your songs, and I was at a red light in my car, and it was a pretty long simple, and it sounded really like horror kind of thing. And I saw like the face of the person because it turned it turned green before the song started. So I just looked like a guy who was listening to like horror soundtrack or something, and the person was just like, "What the hell is wrong with that person?"
Blasting it like through the fucking roof.
And it was pretty loud. But I gotta say though, you cannot go wrong with sample like that, because when it starts, like it hits it, like there's an extra kind of impact to it. It's so satisfying when it starts though. So but it was just funny in that specific moment. I was like, okay, sure, I look like someone who's listening to our horror soundtrack for absolutely no reason in my car, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah, but it's, and even in MySpace, like if we go in MySpace, deathcore was such like a big part of it, right? Back in the days, like you would,
the brutal death scene and all that too. Yeah,
there's a big, there's a charm to it, and it's always appreciated. Like there's a new wave of MySpace deathcore coming back with all those samples, and it's just like I feel we're all there for it. Like I've never heard somebody who's like, oh, I don't know, like everybody's super down with it. So it's cool that you guys are doing it.
Yeah, no, there's been a few complaints, but I feel like that weeds out who's not really down.
Right.
Everyone's like, we don't
The
get the samples. It doesn't make sense. And we're like, it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to. But yeah, we came up off of like, we're MySpace people, so we came up off that era of music. So the samples are just something we gotta have. It's mandatory.
We're here for it. And by the way, while we're talking about MySpace, I keep saying that we need a Waking Like Cadaver Peeling Flesh tour someday. Like we really need that. I keep saying it I think I said it almost every podcast. I'm like, I want this freaking tour. But how would you feel about that? Honestly, I don't know if you guys are really. I'm guessing you dig Waking Like Cadaver, but how would you feel about that?
We'd absolutely love that. That'd be amazing. That might be the tour that the world needs.
That's at the very least the tour that I need. I'm gonna tell you that much. Like that would be so freaking sick. Like and let's be honest, like it belongs together. Like both of your it would work so well live also. Yeah. And the pits would be insane though. Like it would people would go crazy, I think. Which is what you want. So
I mean, kind of to maybe go off of that, like you guys doing your own take in a more, I'd say like a more modern version of a typical slam band. How have you guys felt it or seen it? Like, is there any beef? Like, do you like old heads in the slam scene not fuck with the new stuff and vice versa? Like, has it been accepting for you guys? Like, have you guys had many interactions with some older bands and stuff like that?
Everyone we've met, when it comes to like, I don't know, old heads within the slam community, like people who like, who are in bands and everything, they love it because, they get it. Like we get a lot of support from the homies in Devourment, Cephalotripsy, Abominable Putredy. Like those are all very good friends of ours. And, there's the few like online people who are like, okay, it's slam, but we don't get the gold rims in the cars, and then we're like, it's okay. It's that part's not for you, but like for the most part, slam is as a community has been super accepting of us. We play plenty of slam shows. We play plenty of hardcore shows. We have death metal shows. That's what I love about us playing shows is we can kind of just
the slam bands kind of fit in these different niches. While it's not like stuck with just playing with slam bands, for example.
Yeah, and I feel like I keep saying it in my videos. So if you watch, you probably have heard it many times. But like personality to me is one of the most important thing in a band. So like I would never be afraid to be yourself. Like things that makes you laugh, things that you reckon. Even if people are like, oh, I don't know about the cars and the thing. Yeah, but it's us, dude. So it's like
exactly.
You rather be yourself, and some people are not vibing to it than pretending and blending in and just like, kind of it doesn't make any sense. So like I personally enjoy when I don't understand something, or I'm like, what? Oh, okay, they're doing something different. Like, even if at first I don't understand it, I'm like, that's cool. They're being themselves. So it's a big part of your personality, your identity, and I would even argue that it might be one of the reasons why you're picking up some traction like that. You know, like you're unique. You guys are different. If you were just trying to blend in, maybe it would be different. So I would say it's a good thing, personally.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because that's one thing we always are going to focus on as a band. Is no matter what, no matter if we're under a label, if we're on tour with somebody, or if anything, we are always going to do and write what we want to do and write.
And that's what your real fans want at the end of the day. Honestly, like, let's be real. Like, some people are very loud. We keep talking about it on the podcast, for sure. There's some people saying things, but your real fan base, they want you to be yourself. Like, I would never want, like, if I love an artist, I want this person in this band to be like just themselves and vibe. And if they try certain things and it's a little bit different, but it's them, I'm still gonna be happy. But like, there's always like a few people being like, oh my god, I don't like that. But those are not your, you know what I mean? It's not your target audience in most cases. So you just gotta do your thing, and it's gonna work out. That's
exactly.
But not everyone is, can do it, right? Like, it's not like it's an easy thing to say, like, ignore those things. But like, when you put music, you feel kind of, you're still, you're reading, you're looking at it. So like, I do understand that sometimes you're like, oh my God, okay, quite a lot of people don't like this thing. But I think it's always worth it to still go with your gut and be like, that's us.
Exactly.
For what it's worth, I think especially with, I guess, the newer crop of bands coming up and stuff, I think there is a pretty strong scene right now in terms of slam. Like, I think slam is on the up and up, and you guys are a part of that movement in my mind. Have you guys felt that? Like, how's it been for you guys to kind of come out and Slam's popping right now, right? Mm-hmm. Like, how's it been for you guys? Like, is it one of those things where it's like you guys are just hitting at the right time? Like, I don't know. Have you guys felt that at all?
Yeah, it is crazy, because it is on like the rise, but it's like kind of like it's still a subgenre within genres, but it's cool that those other genres are accepting of it. Like the fact that we can, play hardcore
transcending
shows
a little bit more, sure.
Right. You got the band Torture playing, hardcore shows and hardcore fest. I love that, because I mean, if it's moshable, mosh to it. Doesn't matter who's on the bill. So it's like it's cool. It's cool. It's
Sound and Fury, baby.
Sound and Fury. As far as like hitting at the right time, I'm always so surprised that this band is where it is, or any traction it gains. Like I said, we're all just in a room doing what we want to do, and we're just cracking up about it. And people are like, we love this. And we're like, oh, really? That's sick. Yeah. We're just literally, we call this our reward band. We've been in music for a very long time. This is the band we sat down, and we were like, okay, we're going to start this band. We're going to do whatever we want to do. We're going to play whatever shows we want to play, fit in whatever weird niche spots, whatever we're going to do. We're going to just have fun. We're going to do what we want to do.
Ironic how that's what ends up working, right? Like, I think we kind of all know it, but it kind of takes that moment, like, it's like you're almost ready to hang it up, but hey, we've got one last fun project for you guys, and then that's the one that hits, like you got to kind of let go and do your own thing, and it's cool.
And also the cool thing is, since you're doing a mix of, like, I would say modern and old school at the same time, I do remember first time that I heard, I thought that you guys were around and I just didn't know. Like, it felt also old school, which I think is a really good thing. Like, I do remember I was like, why am I hearing this for the first time? And my friend is like, dude, because they're fairly new. It's normal. I'm showing it to you. I'm like, oh, okay. I thought like I was just like missing out. So we keep talking about that, but it's not an easy thing to balance old school and modern, and like the sweet spot of that can be blurry. So I forgot to say earlier, but it's cool that you're sending both vibes. Like you're the perfect band to like represent the slam booming right now. So that's awesome.
One thing we do know is we know our roots and we love our roots. So no matter how old school it is, we're still, if it inspired us, you're going to see it in our music.
And while we're here, like if you could pick, I know it's very difficult, but like if you could pick a few ones that you would say like that's my, if we're talking about you specifically, like your main influence, like it can be more than one, but I would be curious to know that.
My main influences, probably vocal wise, probably be a lot of Abominable Putrity, a lot of Cephalotripsy, and a lot of Disfiguring the Goddess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a whole lot of Disfiguring the Goddess. Big Chocolate is the go.
Oh man, like
1000%, man. It's still going, That's one of the cool things to see, still fucking killing it all after all these fucking years. Like talk about MySpace and still doing the thing.
And talk about releasing a lot of music. I mean,
that's another one of those dudes that's put out a shit ton of music.
Yeah.
Makes it look easy. I'm like, what the he showed me like a list of the new songs. I was like, that's not real. Like you didn't do all
cranking them out.
Killing it, and he makes it look easy vocally too. Like it looks like it's just
his recent videos of him just dancing around while he's doing his
I love it.
Is the funniest
my
thing.
favorite thing.
I love it.
Good.
I love it.
It made my day. Like I was like, that's so perfect. Represents the dude so well. It's amazing.
Yeah. Those are probably my main influences. But like as a band, it's just we like even the worst slam. You could send us your demo with one guitar chord, with one right ear guitar, the other left ear is just bass, and you got some garage band drums and your cousin in the bathroom in the toilet doing vocals, and we'll love it. We'll love it as long as it's hard and those riffs are hitting. We'll love it. So as a band, it's just slam. Slam is our inspiration, just in general, all of it.
I think it's a good answer, honestly. It does makes a lot of sense. And it says also that you see the potential, like it's not only quality wise, it's like, do I groove to it? Like, do I feel it? I don't care about the rest.
Yeah.
It's all about the vibe.
We'll meet some people who are like, yo, I have this band, we're not big. And we're like, oh yeah, we know your band. We jam that in the van all the time. And they're like, wait, really? We're like, yeah, no, it's hard. So no matter what quality it is, we're going to love it. We're going to love it. If those slams are slamming.
I think there's a certain charm to shitty recording slam, to be fair. Also.
Especially in slam. In slam.
It works.
There's a nice pair up for sure.
And we keep talking, every time we bring up slam and this kind of music, we talk about the snare, right? Like the snare, drum-wise, is so important. Like, I would be curious to know if you... because your snare is sick, so I'm curious to know, was it kind of a quick thing, like you found the sound, you're like, that's it, or did you guys take a lot of time to be like, that's the snare, that's the one? I'm just curious if it was like a whole thing, or
we're all musicians. Everybody in our band is originally guitarist. Like every one of us can just riff, and so we're all big tone nerds. We're just real nerds for tone, and so the drum tone is the snare tone is just ever changing. Joey swaps it up a little bit every tour, but if it pings, it pings.
There it is.
But yeah, that's a mixture of our drummer Joey and our drum tech and producer Kramer and Soto. They are very good at just finding that perfect trash can, but still a little bit good quality snare.
That's well described, because I feel obviously people could tell me, in metal it's important, period, but I feel like in slam it's such a big part of it, dude. Like the freaking sound, like if we keep talking about Psycho Frame, and I know they're not exclusively slam, but I mean like those parts with the snare, like it changes everything. Dude,
that revival deathcore shit is all about that sound of snare.
Yes.
Like everyone's going
Florida
for that.
is killing it with that. Florida is going crazy with the revival. They are killing it. Shout out Hunter from Psycho Frame. They are killing it.
Like
killing it.
we're also at that point that every time Hunter touches something, we're like, okay, so it's going to be good. Like we're at that.
Literally, yeah.
Dude, the new Crucifixion tracks, I don't know if you heard it. Dude, it's so good, man. The Salem Vex
Yes.
new project with Hunter that he co-produced and co-wrote. Like, dude, it's so, I don't know, man. Everything that's been coming out of Florida, period, man, has been fucking insane lately.
Yes, it's picking up traction too. I mean, it's more and more people are noticing. So
I'd say the deathcore revival is coming from Florida. It's mainly Florida. You got Tracheotomy, Peacemaker.
Yeah. There's like a few specific revival styles that are all coming out of Florida. They're doing the metalcore revival as well. They're doing it's all coming out from there. But I mean, to that point, I mean, from what I'm seeing for slam, Texas is where it's at, right? Like, am I wrong, or is like Texas the mecca of slam right now?
Texas is the mecca of just like brutal death metal and just everything heavy. There are so many, like I remember when we started off, you can just go like, because Texas is its own country, you can just tour Texas for 10 days. And
I mean, sometimes that's literally what you guys kind of did, right? Early tours were kind of like heavily just like Texas tours and big festivals with 50 fucking bands on the bill type thing.
Yep.
People are
every
crazy
Texas show is a
there.
fest. Yeah. Every Texas show is a fest. They love death metal and everything heavy. Texas is sick. Big shout out to Texas.
Even if it's a local show, it's a 10-band bill minimum. It doesn't have to be a fest. There's still going to be too many bands on it, but we're here for it.
And am I wrong? Or even like Kublai Khan and all those bands, like it's also Texas, right? Like
I am all that stuff. Like big hardcore wave there too.
And how violent does that sound? Like I saw Kublai live and like it was the nicest thing. He got on stage in Montreal. The first thing he said, "What's up? We're from Texas and we don't give a fuck." And he throws like this big breakdown. The instant it was, by the way, kind of a metalcore show. People were not prepared for that. And the whole room just was a pit after like 5 seconds. So in tech, there's an energy in those bands, like pissed off kind of thing, and it's cool to see.
There is something that is literally just like I label it just Texas energy.
Yes,
it's Texas energy. You can't replicate it. You can't really describe it. But just Texas. It's like.
You got it.
They have their own healthcare. It's like they have free healthcare. They just do not care. They're just always going crazy. For the longest time, growing up in Oklahoma, I thought Kublai Khan was one of our locals. I didn't even know they were from Texas. I thought they were from Oklahoma because they were here so
all the
much.
Time. Yeah. I mean, speaking of Oklahoma, like you guys are pretty. I don't know what the term is. Like you guys talk about Oklahoma a lot and like representing Oklahoma as a state. Like how, where does that come in for you guys? Like what's the meaning behind it? Like what does Oklahoma mean to you and why do you guys rep it so hard?
I feel like we're a little bit different than a few scenes that I've been around. We're a really tight-knit scene. Like everyone who's in the scene, if all the older people have been there for the longest, we've been through everything, so we're all like a family. We got the new kids coming through. They're awesome. They're starting bands. They're going to shows. They're moshing. And so, Oklahoma for a while, because, we call ourselves the flyover state because everyone just flies over us to get to Texas. Yeah. But so it's a really hungry state. We love any bands that come through. We're really tight-knit scene because for a long time, for a majority of the time, Oklahoma is all Oklahoma had. So we just hold each other very close. Anywhere we go, we rep Oklahoma. And I don't know, it's just muscle memory.
That's cool though. I think there is something to say about like, I don't know, like the unity of it. You guys talk about family a lot, like just, and that just does not in the literal sense of the term necessarily, but just like the scene being a family and the people you guys bring into your like personal lives and around the band and stuff as being family and stuff like that. And I think that stuff is cool because we don't see that sort of unity everywhere, right? And I think maybe it takes something to unify like a state or a city or people in general. And like whatever that thing is, ultimately, I think you guys kind of come out better for it, you know, like having those close people around you guys and stuff. And I don't know, I think that stuff's cool. Again, it's like, it's definitely not like that everywhere, you know?
For sure.
Yeah, and it's something that people enjoy, like when you're proud of something and especially something positive like that. Like it's not like I don't see how it could be like a bad thing or whatever. Like it's just like an extra.
Oh yeah, we got any Oklahoma haters in here? Like,
I mean,
you know, that'd be like a weird thing to hate. You know?
I mean, like stop
it
being
happens
proud.
sure,
like,
but, you know, like
how dare you rep Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Fuck that state, dude.
We had a funny situation at a show where someone came up to us and they were like, "Wait, where are you guys from again?" And then somebody came up, they were like, "They said like 5 times in their set they're from Oklahoma. Did you not hear them?" And we're like,
You've almost got the flag in the back of the set. You know, it's
right,
like, come on.
right.
You're just like, okay, guys, we need to say it even more.
Gotta say it more times. They didn't hear us enough.
No, I think it's powerful, and there's like, you know, there's something to it. It's cool when people are proud and just like to represent and whatever. And the cool thing is, even if you're not from there, it's cool to see. So it's, you know, there's like, it's a win-win thing. It's just, you know, if you're proud, just, you know, say it and represent it. And when you go back in your hometown and stuff, like I'm guessing, you know, it's even crazier, right? Like when a band is like super proud and they represent when they play in their plays, like it's almost like a sport, right? Like we see that in hockey and whatever. It's kind of the same kind of thing. I'm guessing, like,
yeah,
so.
it's the hometown game. There still is no crazier show than a Oklahoma Peeling Flesh show. We go crazy here. It's, if you have not been to an Oklahoma show, if you see us just post any show, because from like the Peeling Flesh page, we don't always just post Peeling Flesh shows. We'll just post, you know, shows happening.
Yeah, I've seen you guys.
If you can,
yeah.
If you can, just come down. Everybody in chat, if you can, just if you're in the area, just go to an Oklahoma show. I promise you'll love it. I promise you'll love it.
I mean, yeah, from what I've seen, I mean, because you have good videos too, you know, like live performance, stuff like that. Like it's not every band that takes the time to like upload, you know, this, you know, cool quality videos. It seems kind of crazy, honestly. It does seem kind of crazy. That's why I said the waking the cadaver thing, because it reminds me of like people going crazy like that. And it's that's what you want, right? Like at the end of the day, when you play a show, like there's no bigger compliment than people just going insane and vibing. Like that's the ultimate thing you want as a band. Like that's it. You want people to go crazy. So
exactly. You
You
don't want people to go too crazy. Like you don't want people to get like, you know, injured. But hey, if you do, that's sick.
Sometimes people are proud to be injured.
Yeah.
Like they go to you, they're like, dude, I broke this. And you're like, what? Like, are you okay?
Like, yeah, bro, I lost my leg in the pit. And we're like, that's so sick. Here's a shirt. Like,
you earned it.
You earned it.
What,
yeah.
Well, yeah, I was just, yeah, how's the crowds been? Because you guys have done some, I mean, speaking of crowds going crazy and stuff like that, like you guys have done some pretty eclectic touring in terms of types of bands that you guys would play with. I know some of the earlier, like the runs that you guys were doing earlier was kind of more with bands in your vein, probably more like Homies and stuff, the Sanity Slip and Corpse Pile and stuff like that. But how's it been then? You know, I'm curious from like the Suicide Silence, Chelsea Grin crowd versus the Slam crowds, or even this most recent tour. Like, do you see big differences in terms of how people are moshing or acting towards you guys at those different shows? Like, has it been harder at any of those tours than another? I'm curious.
It's been good anytime, because we're always like, because for the Suicide Silence run, we were a main opener. And so everyone was like, we have no idea who this band is. It just starts off with just Peeling Flesh, and everyone's like, okay, we like this. But you know, it's the first getting through the door crowd. You know, they get down, but they don't get down as hard. But it was cool because that Suicide Silence run was our first like
bigger
full US and Canada tour. And so that was a good like foundation building tour. And so we went out with Jesus Peace and Sanguis and Gag. We went to so many cities and so many people that were like, yeah, we saw you with Chelsea Grin and Suicide Silence. And they go hard. They go hard. It's been sick.
They learned the music, and for the second time around, they were prepared.
Yeah, and I love asking that while we're talking about, legendary band like Suicide Silence and Chelsea Grin. I love asking, like, if you can recall the moment like that you met maybe somebody who's a band or a person that you were looking up to. Like, do you remember the moment you were like, that's unreal that I'm, chilling with that person? Do you have a moment like that in mind, or?
Oh, every night of every tour, I'm just like, this is so crazy. I'm like, middle school me is going crazy right now, because you couldn't tell me that I'd be on tour with Suicide Silence, Chelsea Grin, and I Am, and Jesus Peace and Sanguis Sugarbog and Gag. Those are just like, bands I was listening to before Peeling Flesh was even a thing. So the fact that they acknowledge Peeling Flesh is just forever crazy to me. I remember telling Eddie from Suicide Silence, and I was like, yeah, I turned 30 this year, but I met you when I was like 14 at an All Show Paris show, and it's just the craziest thing. It's the craziest, like, just
full circle
diverging,
moments.
full circle, very full circle moment, very full circle moment.
And the cool thing is about that, they're so nice people too. You know what I mean? Like, they could be, you know what I mean? Like, they did so much and they went through so much. They could be like, listen, and they're not. Like, they're just like all so freaking chill. So it's like, you said you toured with Chelsea Grin. I mean, I didn't meet Tom yet, but he seems so chill, like all these guys, so it makes it even
I'm sure you
cooler.
guys had a good smoke buddy with Tom.
Mean,
most definitely. Most definitely.
He's about that for sure. He's about like,
it's a good match, I think. Yeah,
when I was doing the Chelsea Grin video, almost every interview, first of all, I can tell, you know what I mean, like I can tell, and then he's talking about it openly. He's like, yeah, we're smoking, and it's like super open and chill, and so that's, I mean, it's a vibe, right? I could be wrong, but I think even Signs of the Swarm are pretty open about that as well. So I don't know.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
The only thing that I'm curious is, performing. Like, I'm talking for myself, right? Like, performing. If I would be like super, I don't know if I could. And a lot of people are doing it, but I'm like, how do you manage having that much energy?
Dude,
and
my ex-bandmates couldn't play if they weren't high. So, to each their own.
Yeah, but for me, it's very surprising, like what it does to me in my mind. I couldn't never, like, it would be impossible. People would be like, dude, just go sit down. Like, you, like, it doesn't. And a lot, to be fair, a lot of people are right? Like, a lot of people are performing high and they love it. But in metal music, I'm like, how do you? It's more of like, I'm impressed. I'm like, how do you pull that off, right? Like, but it works.
Yeah, so. No, it works. If you ask me, it makes the vocals a little better for me personally.
There it is.
It's for me, it's a little good, hit a few coughs before the set,
It's a vibe.
Get all the gunk out. Yeah.
Get all the gunk out. Exactly.
No, and I love asking these questions, by the way. Like, I ask like full circle moments and stuff like that. One of my favorite things ever since we started the podcast is asking this, because like, we're genuinely so stoked to see people, people succeeding and stuff like that, and because as I'm making my videos, we know how much work it is, right? Like, it's fun to ask these questions, because like, if you don't ask, you don't really know that. Like, you see these tours, but you're not there in those moments, and it can be life-changing to hear certain words from people that you look up to, really. So I love asking that. It gives you such a big extra push that you're trying to act cool in the moment. You're like, oh, cool. And in your head, you're like, I can't react as much as I want to react.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So many I can't believe this is happening moments. Like, I just sit there and I'm like, wow, like I am really side stage while Suicide Silence playing, unanswered. This is the craziest thing. It's just
And it went
very
fast
happy moment.
also. I mean, you guys, you did a lot of music, word art, but I mean, like, it's
Let's
fairly...
be clear, just the beginning still. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
It's only up from here.
Yeah, like I would even argue that you're kind of leading the
true,
slab thing. If like the slam thing, right? Honestly, like if you look at the amount of traction you have, people talking. I never said in my life the word peeling flesh with somebody being like, everybody's like, oh my god, that's so freaking cool. Even with our guests that we're talking to and stuff. So I think it's quite like while we're here and we're giving props, to me, it's impressive in the amount of time you accomplished that too, right? Like there's some people takes like years, and not to throw shade or whatever, but like it's, it seemed quite fast to be at that level already. So must be a trip also.
Yeah, it helped out that we've all been around for a minute. But we're just letting everything just happen and take its course. It's taking its course pretty fast.
And also, if I may, it's another super random question. I love asking about the logo in general, and your logo is super sick. So, like, can you tell us a little bit? If you had inspiration for it, like who did it? What was the? Like I'm just curious to hear those stories behind it.
And the question is, which logo?
Yeah, I know you have like. I guess I meant like I'm terrible with names and stuff like that, but the one that you can barely read, like it's blue, like super, like the one I have in mind is blue, or even the pink one was freaking awesome. I'm terrible at this, by the way. Like he's doing all the research. I'm an emotional person I don't remember names of songs and whatnot. I don't know if you're dumb, you can pull one off or whatever. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. We had the other one, and we were literally like, the other one's cool, but it's too eligible.
It's missing some slam.
It's
missing That's the one I had in mind. Yeah,
it's missing some tree branches and some crack leather. So we switched up a little bit. We technically have a slightly new logo now that's on the tour flyer, but we're just the logos are just like our music. We're always just having fun with it. We're always just we love watching people be like, wait, what does that say?
It's perfect.
Huh? What?
This flyer, and I know this is the upcoming album art and stuff, dude. This flyer is so sick, dude. Yes. The goal for everything.
Thank you.
I'm sure
it's the coolest.
The local promoters are gonna hate trying to match the fucking local band colors to making this gold shit, but it looks fucking awesome as shit.
Thank you. We worked hard on it.
And while we're talking about the logo, by the way, like even like the other one is also super cool. I just thought it was more of a brutal death look, I would say, as opposed to like, like I feel like the newest like represents maybe a little more what you guys are doing, but it's also super sick because I love brutal death as well. So like they're both sick, but the branches, can't go wrong with
right.
And on
it's kind of just
too.
It's just us sneaking into our sound and our logo. We're just still I feel like each branch changes a little bit, and with that change, we're like, what if we did a little bit of a different logo? And so you'll have we'll see someone with merch, and we'll see the logo, and be like, okay, you went to that show. Way back then.
That's so cool.
Just like an era thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I love like it's always fun to see a few variation. Like Infinite Later, they have a few logo. You've got Waking a Cadaver. They have like the long one. Like I don't see why you should stick only with absolutely this one. It's cool to have a few variation for albums, merch, everything, flyers, whatever. It's just It's just awesome.
I think for flyers specifically, like it's one thing to you go with a vibe for your own like album and stuff, but then it's the same kind of thing that you cater your set list for a tour based around the bands that you're playing with, probably, and stuff like that. Especially bands that do maybe like some more eclectic stuff throughout their discography and stuff. And it's always cool to just be able to throw in the logo that makes the most sense for whatever thing you're doing, you know?
We also do that. Yeah. If it's a death metal, hardcore show, we'll use the other logo. If it's a, more of a slam show, bring out the tree branches,
Can't be the only band that you can read the name. So
Exactly.
just wanted to take a second of your time to talk to you guys about the Thrill of the Hunt Tour 2024 presented by Brutality Podcast, that's us, and Imperial Booking. The tour features MySpace deathcore revival bands Peacemaker, Victim Blamed, and Reverent. The tour runs from July 12th to the 27th and is going to be hitting the states of Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and Tennessee, with more dates to be added. I'll leave a link in the description for all the dates and ticketing info. Go check it out. And now back to the podcast. Let's talk a little bit about the rap and hip hop influence, because that is like a major part of like the identity and what kind of sets you guys apart in my eyes. Talk to us a little bit about where that comes in, and do you guys all listen to a lot of hip hop and rap and stuff like that? Is there like specific subgenres of those styles of music that you guys are into? Like, talk to us a little bit about how that influences you guys.
Yeah, for sure. It's mainly just a lot of like OG Texas rap and a lot of Memphis inspired rap, because Memphis had, the funk era where everything was, super dark, and that was a vibe. We love that. And most of it is Houston based. Anything that's, chopped and screwed. If you don't know, there's DJ Screw from Houston, RIP. But he was the first one that, if you ask me, came up with the OG breakdown recipe. He said, if that's sick, it'd be a lot sicker if you slowed it down. And so that's where we get a lot of our inspiration from. It's just Houston, a lot of Texas, and a lot of Memphis.
Yeah, you guys, slam is gangster rap is something you guys say.
That's right.
So there's some correlation for between slam and rap, I guess, also.
You can put it in the same exact situations. You can, you've got your rap music video, you can just completely cut it out and put slam over it. It'd be the same video.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense because, earlier I was talking about headbanging like that, right? I was talking about listening to the music in your car. I could have said those things about rap as well.
Exactly.
It's the same kind of, vibe. I love
the groove.
Yeah, like it reminds me.
It's not about being technical either, it's not like none of that,
Just groovy, good, like just your head like this, and I don't know, like the only example I have in rap right now is like Army of the Pharaohs and stuff like that. Like it's just like so badass, and you're always like this, like it's kind of like it's a badass. It's kind of a thing you have in rap and slam that's shared. So it does make sense that you have influence in rap. It's just cool that you're including it in the music. Like it's clear. So I feel like that's the difference, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the difference. We like everything to be a little bit 50-50 of slam and rap. Not when it comes to recording, but just mainly just all around vibes. Like, we like our shows to kind of feel like rap shows, but also slam shows. But also people are beating the crap out of each other. And so it's a vibe. It's just kind of like the all around mixture between like the merch, the logos, the flyers with all the gold and everything. We try to show as much of that as we can, because that's us. That's us. That's what we're listening to. If we're listening to two things, it's either rap or slam.
Yeah, and you guys do. I think it's cool too. Like you guys do both of those things kind of separately as well. Like the rap like album art is like super rap, not slam at all. Then you do the slam cover and it's super fucking slam. And I like the contrast between those two things and not kind of like tiptoeing around it. I think a lot of people in your situation would maybe try to merge the two, and not that wouldn't be doable, but like there'd be maybe more of a toned down version of either or. I think you guys going all the fuck out either way is always something I find super cool. And the contrast is interesting, at least.
Yeah. We make it to where it's tasteful, but it's like also right there in your face.
It's gotta be loud.
Don't want it to be like, we don't want to be like under some like umbrella like of like rap metal or like rapcore or nothing, but we just it's a part of what we are, so we want to include that in the slam. And there's times where rap has that groove that we're like, that's crazy, and then we have a slam we write that has that groove and we're like, put that on top of it, put that over it.
Yeah, I feel, and that's why when you hear your music, like I feel like your vocal patterns are very influenced as well, which makes a big difference, because in slam you could say that certain slam bands, you can kind of tell, but it's very clear that you have special kind of patterns, and it's, to me, in my ear, it comes a lot from rap in certain parts, and that's part of the reason why you're like, oh, it goes hard, like it's the same feeling as when you're listening to rap. Does it ever, I don't know if it happened to you, but like somebody who's like, I usually listen to rap, I'm not that much into metal, but your band is, I'm vibing to what you do. Did that ever happen? I'm just, I would be curious to know. Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorite things. So that means because heavy music is, if you are within the confines of heavy music, if you hear something heavy, you're gonna like it. But if when it comes to rap, it's a little different. Everybody's picky with their rap. There's so much rap, and so we have those people who are like, yo, this is my first show, or this is my first time listening to anything of this caliber, and I really like it. And I'm like, that's cool. That means we're actually bridging those gaps that need to be bridged. Because they're like in the same way. If you can go to the right rap show, you'll be like, this is chaos. This is just like a heavy metal show. Like, has the pit, has everything, people stage diving, everything. So just the fact that we can bring people from over that side, that's always a cool thing for me, because I'm always
one hell of a gateway band. Like you're not slow rolling it. Like, it's like, hey, this is metal, dude.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like sometimes when people picture like somebody who's not listening to any metal or whatever, the first thing they have in mind is kind of the technical, like, you know what I mean, like shredding and stuff like that. So they're like, and they picture like the scream. They're like, I don't know, it's not my thing. But if you put like Peeling Flesh, like, and the song starts, even if they don't listen to metal, they're gonna be like, okay, I can see. I can vibe to that. So it's also like the right metal to show someone, I think, who vibes with rap. It's like, it's perfect. Like, oh, you don't like metal? Wait, just 1 second.
One of my favorite things is if someone can just simply get it. It doesn't take a lot. I know there's a lot going on within metal, within slam, within Peeling Flesh, but if someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I get it, I'm like, we did our job. Our job's done. We did it. As long as you're like, as long as you can look at us and be like, okay, I get it. I understand this. I get it. I get it. That's our main goal.
I would be curious also to know, can you recall certain, maybe you have a lot, I'm guessing you have a lot, but like moments with fans sometimes that surprise you with like, even if you're not around since like 20 years, like, do you have moments that you were surprised by, like a story they told you, like how you help them in their life and stuff like that? Like, can you, without naming or whatever, like, do you have a lot of those cool moments when you go to merch table or whatever?
Oh yeah. I've had a few that have really gotten me. Like, we were in Portland, Oregon, and someone was like, yo, out of all my chemo, I listened to Peeling Flesh, so that helped me through. And I'm like, that means the world to me. That means the world to me. Because still to to me, this is still just this crazy thing me and my friends do in our studio. So the fact that it's actually like helping people, that's when I'm like, okay, we're doing something. We're doing something here.
It's like super meaningful, more than what you know, like it's best of both worlds. You're having fun, you're with your friends, it's cool, and at the same time it's extremely meaningful to people. It's like it's the best.
Yeah those are the ones that keep that keeps me going. That's like, okay, cool, we need to be on the road, we need to be in the studio. This actually means something to people, and it means something to us for sure, but we're like, sometimes it matters when people are like, hey, the thing you're doing is really helping me. Please keep doing it. And we're like, say less.
And it adds an extra meaning for you guys that wasn't necessarily there before you hear those stories, I assume.
Yeah.
And the best thing is also for that person telling you it was an important moment for that person to tell you that, you know what I mean? So like, it's kind of it's a big wholesome thing that you share. Like I love hearing about those little moments because, you tour, you're used to be around bands and stuff like that. But like sometimes to remember that for that person just coming to the merch table, that little 2 minutes are just like, hey man, how are you doing? It changes life or her life. So it's kind of, it's I feel like it keeps most band going, even if touring is not an easy thing. It's one of those moments you're like, okay, that's,
Yeah. It's one of those I needed that moments. Sometimes you need that, that person to be like, hey, you mean something to me. And it's like, thank you. We needed that. We needed that. That's gonna keep us going through a whole nother year. Thank you. That's gonna keep us pushing through this tour. That's gonna keep us, going in the studio.
Speaking of, keeping at it, you guys have been the same 5 dudes from the beginning, right? No member changes. Just how'd you guys meet? Because I know you guys, you said a lot of you were from different bands and stuff like that. Were a bunch of you guys like all friends previously? Did anyone come in that you guys didn't know of before that kind of just came in as a member? Like how'd you guys get to forming the band, I guess?
Oh, we've all known each other. We've all when it comes to like, me and Joe were in 2 different bands playing, a tour together, and we found out that we were the people in our bands who like slam. We were in both of our bands had nothing to do with slam, but somebody had just magically brought up slam, and the other one was like, wait, hold on. You know about that band? And so one day, me and Joey were like, hey, one day we're going to be in a band together. And we're like, cool. And then everyone else is like, I've known Jace, our guitarist, for so long. He's been a band from OKC called Omen. They've been around for a long time. They're Oklahoma OGs. And Soto had been around for a long time. He had been in, Strangled and kind of other bands. And so when it's kind of one of those times after COVID, everyone was just not doing anything. And so we were all like, hey, what if we got together and did that slam project we were always talking about? And that's literally how it happened. We started a group chat. They threw us in there. And we're like, all right, cool. This is Peeling Flesh. Let's get it cracking.
got some samples going and
got some samples ready.
And the name too, man. I gotta say, like, the name is perfect. Honestly, Peeling Flesh, like, it's as catchy as it represents like the whole thing. It's perfect. Also, like, I feel like it's such. I keep talking about logos, artwork, and stuff like that, but the name also. Like, I think we all went through being in a band and looking for a name, and it takes forever. And you find something you're very proud, and then somebody's like, I don't know. And you're like, shit. So like, the name is a big part, but I feel like you guys really nailed the name. Like, was it a long process, by the way, or did it just? It
was one of those things where like we were like, okay, cool. We have this EP. We have everything laid out. We need a name, you guys. And so we were all just spitballing in the chat, and Joe was the one who came up with Peeling Flesh, and we were like, yep, of course it was Joe. He's the encyclopedia. So we were like, yep, cool. we had to Google. We had to hit it with a quick Google real quick. So make sure it wasn't already taken by like someone in Portugal or something.
Yeah,
all the socials ready, all that stuff. Yeah.
But that's the real struggle, right? Like you're super proud, you're on board, and then you click and there's a band from 2000 whatever, and you're like, oh crap.
They've got all the socials with 2 likes on the pages. You're like, oh, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Always like, and it's almost suspicious when there's none. You're like, are we sure? You know what I mean? Like when you look,
you're never actually sure. Yeah, that's it.
That was us with Peeling Flesh. We were like, are we positive? We were like, is there none out there nowhere? We were like, check the deep web, dive in there. We need to see if there's not a single one.
There it is.
We don't want to have to be like Peeling Flesh OKC, you know, like
right.
Yeah, like it's because honestly, as I'm making my videos, there are quite a few big bands that when they started, they had an original name, but they had to change it because they received like whatever, like a lawyer letter or whatever, and a band in like another, not even doing the same style, like completely different, being like, hey, that's us, and now they had to change. So you still need to look up those things because it might be frustrating if you have your logo, you have your, and like it's announced, people know you, like it's, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to be like in 3 months after, okay, so we're going to change our name, I guess. So it's a big thing.
You don't want to do all that, you know, all that band stuff, like you said, like logos and promoting and all that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get a message from someone being like, hey, we're the original, you know, insert heavy name.
Cease and desist.
Yeah. Insert heavy band name. And you're like, oh, well, now you gotta do it with, you know, the, you know, Peeling Flesh OKC, Peeling Flesh Slam, you know.
Peeling Flesh BC or some shit like that, you know?
Yeah, it's a struggle for sure. But when you got it, though, when you have your bit, it's like such a relief. You're like, okay, we got it. We're okay. No lawyers, nothing.
No one talks about how that's like one of the hardest things. That's like picking out your band name and like your logo is one of the hardest things to sit there and think about because that's your whole image. That's how people see you. That's how you're advertised. You know,
it's literally like sorry.
You're good.
No, I was just like, it's literally, it's like starting a company. Basically, it's your brand. It's what people remember. Like. And you're stuck with it. Like you cannot change that like 5 times. Like you can have other logos and whatever, but like once you've got your name, you cannot be like, hey guys, so we're changing. Yeah,
we don't know
name.
Too many bands that like switched names, like, you know, 5 years down the line or something, and made it a success story. You know, like
and you're stuck with it. It's like when I did the video, it's not in deathcore, it's in metalcore, but the Devil Wears Prada, like they hate their name so much and they keep saying it. They're like, if we could change it, and that's the reason why it's mostly abbreviated. They rarely say it. They're like, it's so stupid, and it was after the book, but then there was the movie. They were like, oh crap, you know. So it's just an example, but like it goes to show that like you don't want to change it. Once it's done. People know you like that. It's your name. So it is a big deal. I would even argue an artwork also, like when you do an artwork for an album or a single, whatever you do, like at least from my perspective, it might change my vision, honestly. Like the logo, the artwork, if I vibe with it. Like we were talking about Psycho Frame, like how sick is that? Like it's without even anybody telling me about them, just looking at it, I would be like, oh yes, like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna vibe with it. So it's a bigger decision than what most people think, I believe. So it's fun to talk about.
Like you said, it's definitely just like starting a company. It's exactly like that. It's starting your company. This is your, you know, your billboard, your building sign. You know, it's how people are going to see you. It's how, you know, it's just like how you get those random people to walk into your store. It's just like that. It's just like that.
Exactly. And then even I would even argue that the dynamic inside within the band is kind of it's a company. You're dealing with different personalities, you're dealing with decisions, a creative process. You like I don't know if we can call it like that, but you have like band meetings for certain things. Like you need to talk and discuss about stuff and kind of visualize what you're gonna do next. So it's, you know, like from the outside perspective, it's like, oh, okay, they're doing music. It's there's more to it. Like there's a lot of decisions and whatnot. So
yeah. That's one of the hardest things to probably do as a band of that's kind of like, getting bigger, kind of doing bigger things. It's kind of, this is a business, but we are also family. We like to keep that dynamic. We are a business, but we will not let this business get in between us being family. And I feel like that's where a lot of bands fail. You make decisions being basically, you got to be like, okay, this is a business, and then one person's like, okay, but can it be a family? And then those clash, and bands end up being all business with fill-ins, and
yeah,
and
really
that's music for you in 2024. That's for sure. It's been like that for a minute, dude. I think I've toured with more bands that have had like more fill-ins than original members than the opposite. It's like kind of the wave, and if that's not the case, it's because there's a fucking bass track in the back and not counting as a member, so
exactly
pick your poison, but there's a lot of that, especially in recent years.
Yeah, I think it's important because I think people can feel that. It's something you can feel in the music at the same time. Like it's like you can feel it when it's like it's family, they're friends, like on the stage. Like that's something, like you can also feel it if it's cold, like if it's kind of there's tensions and stuff, like you feel those things. So it's as I'm making my videos, sometimes I'm noticing these things. I'm like, oh, that's why they were, it came up like that. This was happening at the time. So it's not an easy thing to do, but I don't think you can go wrong by, putting family and members as a priority and making sure you've got their backs. And even if sometimes it's difficult, like it might mean that instead of going on this big tour, we're making sure that this member is okay, and then we're going to go back and we're going to be strong. Like those decisions might be very difficult, but I feel like long term, putting your people, as your priority and being there for each other is gonna pay off on the long run, I'm sure.
Yeah, because we're still to the point where like we are a business, but man, we are still having so much fun.
That's awesome.
And I feel like that's very important.
Both those things don't have to be exclusive,
Right.
Ideally,
Ideally.
Yeah, and the cool thing is it started as I feel like there's two kind of like, and also another thing that I've noticed as I'm making my videos, sometimes it's a bunch of friends, right? I think Suicide Silence is another good example of that, friends together starting something like, but there's other people that it's kind of just like, oh, that person would be perfect for a bit, but like they don't know each other and stuff. I feel like you have, and it's just an opinion, but you have kind of a step ahead if like your friend starting as like your friends already, and then you already got the connection. It's just about making it work. So like personally, I would prefer that than being with super great professional, but I don't know them and it's like kind of cool. Like I would rather have my friends, even if they're not as talented. I would take my friends before.
Being specifically being on tour with like, with Suicide Silence, because that's all original members unless someone had to be replaced. And so still seeing them have that same camaraderie, they're still having fun. They've still been on the band this long, and they're still like, we still all love each other, but we're still gonna have fun. This is still a business. Because even because no one talks about that. No one talks about putting 5 people in a room and being like, okay, let's all collectively make something. Because that's where, collective differences, musical differences come in. That's where all that comes in. But if you can get your group of people in there, in that room, all sit down and be like, okay, cool. we're all on the same wavelength, that's something you want to keep. And that's something
Yeah.
you want to keep as long as you can.
And that's powerful too. You know, when you got it right, and you're more, it's like you said, like it's even impressive, I would say. Like you have 5 complete different person with different tastes, different influences. Even if they're similar, it's still different vision.
Yeah.
And you make something together and it works and everyone is happy. It's, you know, it's something to be proud, you know. And
it's crazy. It's crazy.
When you really think about it, it's a big process. So it's
that's 5 different brains.
Yep.
Just all typewriting, trying to get the same thing down. And
yes,
if you can do that, that's something to do.
Is it easy for you guys to sometimes let go of an idea? Let's say like you have a pattern in mind or whatever. Like I'd be curious to ask how it goes. Like, does it, like, because it depends on everyone, but like, is it like you're usually, if you like something, they're going to be on board with it? Or do you sometimes have to be like, okay, you guys are not vibing with it. Okay, we're going to do something else. Like, how's the process? Like, is it super easy, or it depends? Or
it's been super easy. We all like are musicians that like, we know what we want to bring to the table. We know what everyone's gonna like. We know, so it's kind of one of those things. We'll even write things. We'll write something, you know, kind of just like, you know, half so and so, and we'll be like, hey, can someone else pick up the writing on this? And then you know, throw your touch on it, and we'll be like, yeah, and then it'll just come out something perfect. So we haven't really had the thing to be like, we haven't really had a situation where we have to be like, I don't know, dude, that kind of sucks. But like, you know, but no, everything everyone brings right. Everything everyone's brought to the table has been useful in some way of peeling flesh, whether it's just like, you can write something like, if you don't like it, take this riff from it. You know, if you don't like it, take this slam from it, this sample. No matter what, we're on that same wavelength. So we know what everyone's going to like. So there's always something to bring to the table.
Do you guys collaborate on lyrics and patterns and stuff, or is that mostly you?
That would be just me. Every once in a while, our drummer Joey, we'll have him just to have fun. He'll do like backing vocals. He'll do like little crickets behind me or something. But other than that, like writing and everything, that's 100% me, just making the pig noises.
Is he rocking the headset like Torture's doing?
No, we've talked about getting the NSYNC headset. That's ultimate drummer status. There's been plenty of drummers who can, you know, have a mic next to them, but I'm like, if you got that NSYNC mic, if you got that little Backstreet Boy mic, that's next level.
I mean, Torture are making it work, so I think if there's a time to do it, it's now, man.
Big shout out Torture. I was very curious to how they were going to do that, because I know it was originally just him. And so they were like, yeah. Then I saw them get picked up by, you know, Days Records and everything, and I was like, they're going to tour. And it was very interesting to see how they're going to tour. I was like, okay, so is he going to play guitar? Is he going to do drums? Is he going to just do vocals? And so it's cool to see him do drums and vocals. So it was really sick.
Pretty fucking crazy too. Like
impressive.
Those shows have been, the footage I've seen from those shows so far, there's so much fucking hype around them. Like one shot, you know, with their shows and stuff. So it's cool. It's cool to see a band like them thriving right now.
And
anytime a band like that comes up, I'm like, yes, another slam band. Yes.
Hell yeah. And in terms of vocals, I'm just, do you receive a lot of requests to be featured on? I'm sure you do, but like, do you receive tons of people being like, can you do like a featuring on my song or whatever?
Well, no, but I mean, let's specifically talk. You got 2 features that just dropped in the last like week with
that's kind of why I'm asking.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking. I'm like, he's doing featuring, but I was. If you can also, you know, I'm curious to know if you have tons of them and you're like, oh my God, okay.
It's not too many to where I'm like, oh God, my inbox is something I'm afraid of because there's so many requests in it. Yeah. But it's something I feel like I've been doing a little bit more. I just have, anytime a homie is like, hey, I got this track, and I'm like, say no more, I got you. Awesome. One of those things, if we're going to be recording anyway, if we're like just in the studio doing Peeling Flesh stuff, I'll hit a homie up and be like, hey, do you have that track? I'll do that feature you wanted. And so it'll just be something as simple as that. But it's not too crazy. I feel like it's right where I want it. It's right where I can be on enough features to where people aren't like, oh God, this guy again.
Every song's that sound. It's like
Every
featuring
song.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's cool. I thought the stabbing feature is really fucking cool. And then Vulvodynia that just came out as well.
That's very sick.
Yeah.
Stabbing's another band that's, you know, like kind of out of nowhere picking up a lot of they picked up a lot of traction and then announced signing to Century and all that stuff all kind of at once. So they've been another super interesting band to follow in recent weeks. I actually didn't even know about them. I guess until your guys' feature and them and then signing, but they're fucking dope as shit.
Yeah, same. I didn't know.
That is our sibling band. That is our sister band. We love Stabbing. We played I feel like we probably played more shows with Stabbing than almost any other band we've ever played with. They're just good old Texas death metal. They're the homies. They've been down there for a while. Shout out Stabbing. They've been down there grinding for a long time. Their come up is definitely well deserved.
That's cool. A few bands like that right recently that are getting some opportunities that are like to go back to kind of what you were saying kind of earlier on, like that are kind of transcending, you know, that are doing tours with other styles of bands like Organectomy have been doing. They just got announced on that the Carnifex and Cryptopsy tour, stuff like that. So I don't know, a lot of cool slam bands that are, you know, getting pushed into other types of tours and doing some big ass fucking touring and label deals and stuff. So it's cool to see.
I know we were talking about like the timing of everything earlier, but I feel like now it's just like after, you know, quarantine and COVID and everything, I feel like the world just has like a different outlook on music. It's kind of like everybody, as soon as the quarantine's over, everybody rushed to their favorite restaurant to eat or, you know, their favorite shopping place. It's kind of like one of those things where like everyone sat at home during quarantine. We're like, wow, I really miss shows and just music. So just after all that cleared up, it's just now is the perfect time,
right,
for music.
There's a hunger for
music
all of
is
it.
just music is just at an all-time
Yes.
request right now. Everybody is like, when's the nearest concert? Where's the nearest show? What's the newest release? Who are they? When are they coming to my town? Now is just the perfect time to just be associated with music. And
it feels like things are blending, you know, like death metal, deathcore, things like it feels like everybody's together. Tours are more diversified. Like it's just it makes sense. Like it's just I think it's better for everyone. But I agree. Like when the pandemic like I remember thinking, oh, we can lose that. Like it's not even something you thought you could lose. Like we took everything for granted. But I do remember the first tours were crazy. Like right after it was like it sold out in like 5 minutes and stuff. But even now, to be fair, I look at most tours and it's like it's a good thing. It's almost hard to you know get your tickets. Merch is selling like crazy. I don't know about I'm sure you guys are selling tons of merch and stuff, so it's like people are like let's appreciate the hell out of it now. You know, so
I don't want to be that person, but it kind of helped. It kind of just you know, it kind of factory reset everyone's need for it. Everyone's music scenes either kind of like died off and then got like a resurgence, or everyone just kind of just like, you know, just started over from scratch.
Dude,
so it's
a
very
lot
cool
of
see.
kids got into metal and weren't able to go to shows for a few years, right? Like, so that brought like a whole new wave and a new crop of people going to shows as well that all hadn't experienced. They're all experiencing their first shows at the same time. Like there's like, some people might say like, depending on the crowd, some of that's been weird, some of that's been super cool, but I don't know, man, it's cool. It's cool to see that the shows are thriving right now. It's like you said, I think there's no better time for it. And I don't know, it's not specific to like extreme music, but I think definitely fans of extreme music are really here for it right now. So it's cool to see. Let's talk about a couple things before, because I don't want to drag this on too long for you. I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day. But you've got some new music and stuff. I want to talk about that a little bit, and some festivals, some shows coming on, the headliner. But first, let's indulge just for a second. Crip Mac. Talk to us about Crip Mac for a second, and the sample, and then getting the cameo done and all this stuff. Is there more to it than that, or is just that was just another video that was sent in the group chat, and that's kind of as deep as it goes?
That's probably as deep as it goes. It's not too much Crip Mac lore. It was literally just when we first started just being on the internet a lot, we were like, oh, this guy reminds us of so many people we know. He's hilarious. And so we put him on the sample. We put him on the No Custer Shit sample. People love that song. It's one of those songs where the sample comes on and everybody screams it right back at us.
Yeah.
And right before we left for the Suicide Silence run, the Soto's wife had got the cameo of Crip Mac being like, shout out Peeling Flesh, shout out your wives. We were like, this is insane.
I thought he could have done like because he does the never commit suicide, you know, and and then the suicide silence shout out was kind of like funny in that, but dude,
it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
I could see Crip Mac fucking with Peeling Flesh though, like. Crip Mac needs to come out to a Peeling Flesh show. I mean, we saw him go to Knotfest or whatever the fuck metal festival he was at and shit. Like he's got to be hooked up with Peeling Flesh in some way.
Hey, he's on the guest list if he wants
it. But yes, free Crip Mac. He's in jail right now. But you know, he'll be out.
Also, shout out Don't Stress Flower Press. I see you in here.
There we go. All right, so let's talk about some of the new stuff, because you guys kind of like, you know, the headliner tour is like with the album artwork and stuff, and you guys posted like a video saying new music was coming and mentioned some featurings that are going to be on the album and stuff, but not much else has been said. I don't know if there's anything else you can say about it. I'm not going to press you too hard, but what's coming for you guys, man, music wise?
We have our full length that what we're releasing is going to be our first actual full length. We're talking, let's see, about a good 20 to 30 minutes of peeling. If everybody's been asking for it, all the gym dudes are like, your songs are too short. I can't lift to them long enough. Here you go. We got a full length.
It doesn't last my entire set. That's so good.
we finally got a full length for you. It's just, you know, that's something we work super hard on. It's our favorite thing to date. If people have came out to a few shows, you might have heard I think we played like 4 songs from the full length. But yeah, we have our full length coming out.
Is there a date for that yet, or is that not been said yet?
I don't know if there's a date for that yet, honestly. The post might have said a date. There's a date. Yeah. Soon, yeah, there we go. Whenever it pops out of the oven is. But yeah, that'll probably be released. So we'll probably release that. I think the goal will be before the headliner tour.
Sure.
We'll give,
makes sense.
Everybody a final date, so everybody can vibe with the new songs we play on the headliner tour.
Yeah,
but we've got
just a bit about the headliner, because that's a really fucking cool lineup. Did you guys hand pick the lineup? How'd that tour kind of come about? First time you guys are doing like a headline tour, like a proper full US?
Yeah, we did a tour back in the day. Like one of our first tours was originally supposed to be Peeling Flesh, Snuffed on Sight, Corpse Pile, Sandy Slip. Mm-hmm. And then Corpse Pile couldn't make the run. And so we kind of did the run without them, but we were like, hey, in the future, we need that redemption. We need that Corpse Pile, Peeling Flesh tour. And so this was one that we definitely just picked out all on our own. And we were like, we want all the homies. So we were like, Snuffed on Sight, it's time for us to throw it again. They're like, absolutely. And we got our homies in Corpse Pile in 2-piece on a leg of it. We have Bashed In, which that's our actual sister band. That's our drummer Joey's other band. He plays guitar in that band. Cool. We got Slime from the good old PNW. they're going to be coming through, and it's going to be the Who's Got the Most Bail Money tour. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be just absolute chaos. I'm so excited for it.
That's cool. And you guys are doing a few festivals too. I know you guys got the Soto's birthday bash. You guys are doing Sound and Fury as well.
Sound and Fury, Soto's birthday bash coming up pretty quick. But yeah, we have that. We have
New England
Sound
too,
and Fury.
right?
We have Sound and Fury. The New England is going to be cool. That's going to be during the headliner tour. So that has all of us on it. That has us, Snuffed on Sight, Corpse Pile, and Two Piece on it. We've got New York Death Fest coming up. Going to be playing with, Cephalotripsy Dripping. That's going to be crazy.
Sick.
It's basically like a nice little stack of fests before we leave for the headliner.
I mean, Snuff on Sight and you like those shows, dude, are gonna be.
They're gonna be some nasty as fuck shows. And you were talking earlier about you guys opening up and then having people come back the second time around type thing. Them just doing the Dirt is Murder tour for sure put them onto a hell of a lot of new people because those guys fucking kill it regardless, right? So them doing like their first big proper tour like that to the fucking insane crowds they were playing, for sure they're gonna draw some more people than before during the headliner. So that's super cool to have those guys on too. It's such a good band, man.
It was cool because we caught them a few times. We linked up a few times during the last run because the Die Hard Murder and the Jesus Piece run were during the same time. So we linked up in a few cities, and it was cool watching them because they're doing the exact same thing we did with going from the Suicide Silence run to the JP run. They're building, that nationwide, following. So when they come back and people are like, oh yeah, we remember y'all from the Die Hard Murder run. And yeah, it's cool to see them do that.
No, that's awesome.
While we're here, I'm going to have to say, you guys need to come to Montreal and bring Psycho Frame with you, if you can.
Yes. They were just here. We just missed out on them.
I know. I sucked. Recently, I have it's one of those things now. I have absolutely no comprehension of time and whatever. Like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, we're like, it's the summer right now. Like I'm completely lost and I'm looking at tours and I'm like, I missed
Someone
that.
said we're 6 months into the year, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like in my mind we started the year recently, so I'm like, oh, what is happening? So sometimes I look at a tour and I'm like, they didn't come here, and people are like, yeah, dude, they were in Montreal. I'm like, oh my God, like I really missed that. So I need to be more careful. Definitely.
I will say that Montreal show was one of my favorite shows of the tour. It was crazy. We played at pardon my French, literally. It was something electric.
Yeah, Fofun Electric, yeah. That's a legendary venue here too. It's not like it's the best venue or whatever, but it's like that venue's been around for like since like way long
There's
ago.
history.
And has always been there's a lot of history in that venue and stuff. So I can imagine that show doing good. And Montreal's got a pretty decent hardcore scene as well. So I can see that a lineup like that doing well for sure.
It was definitely the craziest I've ever seen Canadians get. It was definitely the craziest I've seen them get. It was a good show. It was a good show. Also, that part of Montreal was just really cool to be in because we've been to Montreal, but we didn't get to play there. But we've been there a few times. So that was a different part of Montreal we had never been to. So it was cool.
More like downtown area, and there's all like the festivals and stuff going on around then, like around that time too, with like the streets are closed off and always a bunch of people around that area all the time. So it's a cool little area to visit for sure. I hate it as like someone who lives here, but to visit, it's got some cool stuff. It's a vibe for sure.
I love having a venue that's just by something because we come from Oklahoma where there's like a venue in the middle of nowhere. It's just an open field and there's an 1,100 cap venue and you're like, what do we do with this? And we're like, well, but I love a good downtown.
Lots of parking.
Yeah, lots of parking for days. But no, I love a good downtown venue. I love a good venue by things because I'm a wanderer. So
Yeah.
as soon as we're, in and out, I'm like, okay, cool. Time to walk somewhere, see some sights.
Dude,
It was
I
really
think
cool.
one of my only Oklahoma memories is like playing Tulsa and wandering around and trying to find food, and the only thing I stumbled upon was the hoagie house. But it was good. But that's all I got. All I kind of got to see of Oklahoma.
Who were you in Tulsa with?
We were. I used to play in a band called Depths of Hatred, and then we were doing a tour with Vervum and a couple other bands. But Veil of Nath, more of a deathcore, tech death.
Were you at Mass Movement or the Vanguard?
Vanguard? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super sick venue. Still around.
Still kicking.
Venue's
Yeah,
very sick.
And well, that venue is kind of like in the downtown-ish, like that kind of area too, right? So we were able to kind of walk around there and find some stuff to do. It's a beautiful, Tulsa's a beautiful place for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed the city.
Yeah, that's an area I spend a lot of my time in. I've been going to the Vanguard since I was a kid, and then once it got a little more DIY, we got a little more smaller venues because it is hard to play like big venues like that with DIY
it's a fairly
shows.
big venue. Yeah, that's it.
It's a fairly big venue, and so shout out Mass Movement and Backrooms back to VFW style shows, and that's always an amazing time. Mass Movement's got
no stage on the ground type thing.
No stage, stays on the ground. Yep, the good old auditorium floor, the good old auditorium mosh.
That's the best, honestly.
It's the best.
Keep it simple, stupid. Sometimes that's what works best.
It's like it's an unwritten rule that if the band is at the same level, you gotta mosh, and it's gotta be like a big pit. Like it's not a question. It's like you don't have a choice. You gotta go hard. Like they're at the same level. Like that's what MySpace was all about. Yes. Exactly. You need, kids just mushing in the middle. That's the vibe, old Jerome shows and whatnot. Yes. So sick.
All right, man. Well, dude, I thank you so much for taking the time to do this, man.
It went fast, dude. What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super, super excited to see what you guys are going to be doing next. I'm eager to see how the headliner is going to do. Can't wait for the new music. All the festival sets, I'll be waiting for Hate 56 to cover some shows or to check out some YouTube videos for sure. But thanks again for doing this, man. I don't know if you've got anything you want to plug before we let you go, but it'd be kind of
anything merch, everything you've got to support basically.
Let's see. Shout out Backroom Productions, Backroom Printing. Book your shows, print your merch with Backroom. If you're in Tulsa, book your shows at Mass Movement. That's about it. Shout out the homies. Shout out TKO Booking. Free Crip Mac. Free Young Thug. Catch us at Soto Slam Fest, Sound Fury, New York Death Fest, and on our headliner, New England.
Dude, that's a tour. As well. That's, I mean, so freaking sick. With Snuff on side, I can't believe it. if you guys want to be part of a very wild experience as a show, that's the tour to go. Definitely. Plus the flyer is super
shout
sick.
Out Don't Stress Flower Press. Shout out Texas.
There we go. we see you in chat. Cool, man. Well, thank you for doing this, man. Thank you so much, man. Super fucking appreciated, and we'll keep in touch. All right.
Yep. And first of all, we're gonna need to, we're gonna reinvite you in the future for sure. And second of all, I'm gonna have to do a video on Peeling Flesh at some point, right? Because the more I wait, the more music I'm gonna have to cover, and I'm afraid that my video might last like 50 hours. So I'm gonna do a video about Peeling Flesh in the future for sure. So.
I love that, man. Thank y'all so much for having me.
You're welcome. It was super fun. So thank you, man, for real. I know our community, and I know I was seeing in the chat great episode. People really enjoyed having you here. So thank you.
Hell yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Chat. Thank y'all for watching.
There we go. We'll catch up soon, and best of luck with everything, man. Enjoy your night, man.
Thank you very much, y'all too. Y'all have a good night.
Take care, man.